Greetings, I've seen to a Parax 11 review of The Good, the Bad and the Underrated. And don't worry, that top 10 I talked about is still coming. It's just that A, it's been taking me a while to find the right clips in my DVDs and YouTube, and B, I've been prioritising catching up with MLP. So yeah, I'm a bit far back on it, but expect to see it in the next 2 or 3 days. Now getting back on track, as I've stated before, one particular strength of MLP's writing has always been sibling relationships, especially with the CMC. Applejack and Applebloom are adorable, as well as Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo. Well, I'd argue Rarity and Sweetie Belle have one of the best sibling relationships in all of cartoons, being actually pretty realistic. Often bickering, manipulating each other, but never fully breaking apart, uniting over their similarities. Plus it helps that said relationship was highlighted in 2 of my all-time favourite episodes, Sisterhood Social and For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils. However, the premise of the main 6 siblings getting overly competitive over what their little sisters are doing didn't sound good, since it's a formulaic plot that's been done to death elsewhere. But since Ed Valentine was one of the writers, having written the entertaining Three's a Crowd and the amazing Flight to the Finish, reassured me, along with Michael Vogel, who helped write Stranger Than Fanfiction last time, and you all know how much I loved that episode. Will this episode be on a roll from start to finish, or crash harder than the new Top Gear? Let's find out as we take a look at The Cart Before the Ponies. This episode starts with Miss Cheerilee teaching about physics. You do realise you live in a universe with this as a main character. I think teaching physics is a teeny weeny bit useless.
Sounds a bit over our heads. Yeah, why would we even need to know that stuff?
The same question I ask when getting taught French and trigonometry. And now the mere sight of snips and snails makes me want to just put a stun blast in the nearest living thing.
If she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
Perfect. She then reveals they're going to be taking part in an event called the Applewood Derby, which we've never heard of before.
We've talked about it for years, and now I'm finally old enough to race.
How incredibly convenient! They have to build a cart, but they can pick an older pony to help and drive with them, so the CMC go for the obvious option.
Your cart has to be able to finish the race if you want to win one of the awards. Fastest, for winning the race, naturally. Most traditional, for the best working replica of an original Applewood cart. And most creative, for the cart with the best overall design.
Well, at least you're not going with the everyone's a winner rubbish. Also, I wonder who's going to win.
You've got a lot of work to do before you're ready to race.
Yeah, but not schoolwork, right?
Valentine, even with all of your great writing talent, it's futile to try and make Snips and Snails funny. Also, is it bad I'm still kind of finding the CMC having QC marks a bit weird, even almost a season later? However, they all try and switch their options around from what you'd expect from their characters. Good idea, seeing how variety is the spice of life. Or was that the tasty treat? One of the two. Rainbow then flashes back to a Clydesdale derby, but wouldn't a wood thing just float through the cloud or...
Magic, you don't have to explain it.
Hard to argue with one of my favourite critics. But Rainbow quickly hijacks it to design the cart the way she did.
Well, I couldn't be more proud to help my little sister take the prize for most traditional.
Actually, I was kind of thinking of something else. Like fastest?
Apples win most traditional. We have since the derby started. Why would any pony want to win anything else?
What did you say in Sisterhood Social?
Once again, you're thinking about yourself. Being sisters is a give and take.
Unless tradition is involved, then act like a plot hole. Rarity then...
The Applewood Derby!
Oh god, you're rivaling Fluttershy levels of adorable. How could you get even more... And now I have diabetes. Anyone else want to make this worse?
But I came in second. Second! You? Second for most creative? To whom?
Ooh, sorry. I'm allergic to incredible cuteness. Also found a nice touch that the boutique looks busier, indicative of Rarity's fame having grown over the past few seasons. All three groups start very early, and they all call the carts theirs. Well done, ponies. Keep up this unlikable personality, and this will be your future.
I mean, they're all our older sisters. Practically.
Oh, that's so cute of you, Scoots. And so more shooting down ensues, with Rainbow Dash not listening, Applejack already making a cart alone, and Rarity ignoring Sweetie Belle's ideas.
I was kind of thinking of something a little more modern and less rickety. With maybe a chance of winning.
Bless my hooves, I thought we covered this.
I mean, it's only a race. Who wants to win a race? Oh, and of course, this line.
Tradition is all that counts, and who knows tradition better than apples? No, Pony, that's who. So, are you an apple, or are you an apple?
That is officially when these three's portrayals, and AJ's in particular, went from slightly quite out of character to flat-out character assassination. Saying that you have to follow a certain thing in a stupid race, otherwise you're not a member of the family? Sweet Celestia! Tony Stark in the Civil War comic was less out of character, and in Battle of the Water Tribe was less unlikable. Now Apple Bloom's weird, stressy dream of her being removed from the apples due to her cutie mark in Bloom and Gloom actually seems accurate and valid. Ugh, let's move on before I blow a blood vessel. Admittedly, the only one who doesn't come off like an idiot is Rarity, due to that funny backstory giving us some motivation to make
That isn't big and bold.
the next Natalie Pony movie. But Rainbow comes off as even more arrogant and stupid than usual, and as I said, Applejack's stubbornness is at almost annoying levels, especially since she learned only a few episodes ago that traditional things aren't always the best and a fresh pair of eyes can help improve your methods. It really gives me the feeling that this was written before Applejack's day off, but was held back. Scoots, that meme is old and tired, and it deserves to have its head cut off and left to run to obscurity. And so we get a older sisters being jerks and younger sisters being disappointed montage. And it's not very catchy either.
It was a cup of good intentions, a tablespoon of one big mess, a dash of overreaction. I assume you know the rest.
Doesn't look like any of us ended up with what we wanted. But I'm sure our older sisters know what they're doing. Right? Right.
Wrong!
The older sisters then drive instead of the younger ones, and
I know they were all excited to help, but I don't think they're really helping anymore.
you think? First tender tap, now this? You are not a very clever pony, are you, Apple Bloom?
Can't we go any faster?
Okay, that was pretty funny. Another musical number then ensues, and it's While the visuals are pretty good, and as ever, all the cast are excellent singers, the lyrics are kind of already what we've seen before. The sisters are idiots who won't listen, and the instrumentation just feels too relaxed and slow for a race. However, the chorus will probably be in my head for ages. That I have some better music for it. Oh, now I'm even more stressed out. All these memories of falling, getting knocked off. Blue show. Also, anger dirt horse at your peril, Rarity. But is that a son, or brother, or weekend son, or cousin, or more fanfiction fuel? The song then ends with a huge crash, though with a track that shape, what else was going to happen? And the CMC finally exploding.
We were supposed to design them. And we were supposed to drive them. The Derby was supposed to be for us, not the three of you.
But I thought you all wanted our help.
We did. We wanted your help to build our carts, but we all ended up with carts that are what each of you wanted.
Well, why didn't you say anything?
You've all done the race before. I just figured you knew best. Plus, it's hard to speak up to older ponies.
Definitely a good moral, as I know firsthand age doesn't make me cleverer than someone younger, and old age certainly doesn't bring wisdom to some, but there's just one teeny tiny flaw with this. The Crusaders did complain! It's just that the older sisters didn't listen! Why couldn't they have just opened their damn ears for about half the episode?
Stupid! You're so stupid!
They then redo the carts the way the Crusaders wanted, which is admittedly cute, along with the overalls available for $9.95 at the Toys R Us, I'm sure, and the race is done over, with the episode ending with the older sisters relaxing at the finish. So that was But the Cart Before the Ponies. A very hit and miss episode, to say the least. It is a shame that yet again the Crusaders get an unremarkable episode, although I think there is more good stuff in this episode than On Your Marks, but also more bad stuff. The Crusaders are well written, just as adorable and unique as ever, but showing the maturity they've gained over the seasons, even if it is by comparison. There are some fun background gags to fuel headcanons. I do like what the moral was trying to say, and overall the comedy is really on point. I got a particular kick out of Rarity's backstory. It was hilarious and fit her character perfectly. I really wish I could say the same for AJ, Dashi and Rarity through most of the episode, because their characterization is by far the most glaring problem. Their ignorance and egotism is completely out of character, especially in the face of past morals like insistive social, saying being a sibling is about compromise and talking. Hell, what makes it even more glaring is Applejack taught the moral, yet is learning it here. Even in Some Pony to Watch Over Me, she learned the lesson to give Applebloom more freedom. I mean, it was incredibly sloppy and poorly executed, as was most of the episode, but jarring here nonetheless. This really feels like a Season 1 characterization for most of them, but this ain't Season 1, and they've had 5 seasons to grow and become more mature, well-rounded characters. So, while I don't think this episode is the worst so far this season, that still goes to Yumi Dash, it's not good by any stretch. And for the rest of the analysis community seems to be this season's Mare to Well, Some Pony to Watch Over Me or Ghostbusters, that episode that everyone agrees is awful, with even the good points here being unable to save it from being a giant wreck. I'm Parex11, thank you for watching.